All right, I think we've got you hooked. Welcome inside another edition of the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. Alongside Vince Young and Mack Brown, I'm Bob Ballou. We appreciate you joining us. As always, you can find this podcast anywhere you get your podcast, on Spotify, Apple. You can watch us on YouTube, and you can rate and review us anywhere that you see us on social media at the Stampede UT. So much to get into. It's spring break. We're going to get into what Texas has done and what's going to come next for the Longhorns. We'll continue our NFL draft previews as we talk a little bit about Malik Muhammad and where he's going to go in the NFL draft. And what does Vegas think of Texas? How many wins are the Horns going to get in 2026? We'll give you that over under and kind of make a prediction as to where they're going to go. But let's start with spring break because all of us are in different places. Vince is the closest to home, which is kind of funny because he's not at home. Mack Brown in the Bahamas. I'm in Florida. Vince is in Austin in the CBS Austin studios. Guys, happy spring break. How you doing? I hear it's a little cold, Vince. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a little chilly. It's very surprising because it was just warm. I'm just happy to be back and home. I was in Miami. Me and the wife went and hung out and got us some me one-on-one time with no kids. Totally forgot that feeling for a long time. But we did. I honestly say we had a really good time, from massages to went to the Miami Heat game, went to some nice, really great restaurants, caught up with some old friends, laid by the beach. I mean, we had a really good, like, wow, we don't have a kid. We ain't got to drop no kid off to school or nothing like that. It was amazing. So we didn't know how to act. So now we back at home, back in the cold weather, back to work.
Mac, you're like the opposite, Mac. You're with all the grandkids, right?
Well, we've got 2 grandkids here and a son and a daughter-in-law, and we've had a great time. They're headed back here this week, so, but it's been fun, and the weather here, Vince, is between 72 and 75 every day.
I had to say my name.
A little breeze. It's just south of Miami, southwest of Miami, southeast of Miami, a few hundred miles, but it's been fun. It's been fun to spend family time and get away and still amazed that every day I hit a golf ball, it just doesn't automatically get better. We're gonna talk about spring practice here in a minute. I think I need spring practice, Vince, for golf.
Coach, I blame on the wind.
Well, in our game yesterday, my son said, "The wind is awful." I said, "There's 4 of us playing, and all 4 have the same objective with, trying to get through that wind, so don't sit there and make excuses. No excuses, no regrets. Go play."
Go play.
So I was just going to ask because I mean, you guys played so many games in the snow and in the rain, and if people make excuses. You say they got to play in it too. It's
Right.
no different for them. So yeah, it's good
Yeah,
stuff. All
you
right,
you tell the guys when we go to Nebraska, "You wanna play in the NFL?
You
You're
gonna
gonna
have to
be
do
playing in the cold. You're
gonna
gonna
be
play in the
playing in the
snow.
cold.
You can't play in this. You're not playing the NFL, and that's okay. That's a decision you gotta make."
Exactly.
And then
November, December, January, no fun.
Ryan Bailey kicked the last second field goal in the snow at Lincoln, the first time he'd ever been in a ball game to win. So
Yes. That's
Good
amazing.
times, good memories too. All right, so here's spring break. Such a weird, and I know Mac, I know you dealt with this. I remember this when you were at Texas too, but it's such a weird, odd, unique situation for players because you get the first week of spring practice, and then you go on spring break and you enjoy yourself, and then you come back for 3 weeks. I feel like you kind of think it's a good thing in some ways. Why is that?
I think it's a great thing. Number one, they have to take care of themselves on spring break. Can't stay out all night. You got to be ready to come back and start practice as soon as you get back to school with a week off. You need to condition, so the strength coaches give them things to do while they're wherever they are. They're on the beach, they got to run, um, and they'll be safer because they know they got to be healthy when they get back. So we'd have a guy sprain an ankle running on. He said running on the beach. I figured it wasn't, but that's what he said anyway. At spring break, but I also felt like Bob, it gives the Texas got 40 new players. Texas has got new coaches, especially on defense, running back coach. They got new running backs, they got new receiver. They're really starting over as a team. This isn't Vince's 2005 foreign team going into 2005 where he had all the guys back. He knew them all. They were all friends and they'd competed for a year together, been in tough games together. So Sark has to teach them how to practice the way he wants them to practice. Even Muschamp and Blake Gideon coming in, what's going to change now? because you have an offensive structure, a defensive structure, a special team structure. Will's been a head coach at 2 places, so he's got to learn what Sark wants. And then a key thing is the young guys have to learn how to practice. If a young guy comes in, hits Vince, and might hurt him, and you stay off the quarterback, then he's not going to practice. I used to say, man, you're about to lose your scholarship. You hit him again, you're out. You're gone. Period. It's not for discussion. So they're having to learn how to practice. But the biggest thing is now they're evaluating talent. So when they come back next week, who plays where? Let's move him up. I think he needs to be a safety instead of a corner. This guy's a good pass rusher. We got to put him in different positions to pass rush. So you've had a week of orientation, some in shorts. Now you're going to have 3 weeks of practice, and it'll be intense. It'll be physical. It's going to be more game-like because, again, they're preparing for Ohio State. I mean, every day with this new team, they're preparing for that second game of the year because that's such a key game for them. But I liked it because it gave us as a coaching staff a week to evaluate what we saw. And also the new running backs. Sark's got to figure out how to use them. And you got Cooper and you've got the 2 incoming guys. How do you use them? Who is Cam Coleman? We've seen him on film. What's he like on the field? What does he do? And then you never want Arch being out, but Arch can get in great shape and he can throw and he can do all the things. These 2 young ones are preparing, and we had Matt Nordgren who didn't get to play much behind Vince, and Colt Richard. So he's getting these 2 guys ready to be starters if something happened to Arch and he couldn't be out there, and that's such a key factor because if Vince had gotten hurt, we wouldn't have had somebody else ready to play.
And you brought up Arch Manning, and I want to tear off that in one sense, and I want to get to the offensive line with Vince. But Vince, before I do that, do you think the guys are behaving on spring break? Do
I
you agree with Coach?
I know they enjoying themselves for one. I know that. But my main thing is what I've been seeing all on TV, all these fightings at the rodeo and the people at the beach, Daytona Beach, and these young people are just I mean, where's their parents? Like, I mean, I know they're not there, but like, you've been taught a certain way, respect, gentlemen, be nice, be respectful, and then you turn on a YouTube channel or you turn on something on TV and you see these big brawls of fighting girls, even girls, young ladies grabbing people's hair and I just hope if Coach Stark, as he's doing right now, teaching them guys how to be leaders, not just the football team, the basketball team, the softball team, the whole entire University of Texas, as the coaching staff release these kids to, go enjoy themselves, what they should, and they earned it. I hope they're are being the front runners out there, being leaders. Like, hey, get my teammates away from here, or if they with a friend, hey, we're not doing that. Let's get away from that. I don't want to jeopardize my career. I don't want to jeopardize whatever you may be. It's like I just hope that these guys are just being leaders out there because sometimes you can't control the environment and when something happens like that, but we don't want you to be a kid, don't enjoy yourself, but in the same time have a plan, know what you need to be doing out there because of the fact we don't want to see especially any kid, but the University of Texas kids out there had to go into some kind of brawls and some fights. But overall, I mean, I think they should definitely have a good time. They have earned it, and sometimes you need to go release and be with your friends and family and get on at the pool, whatever it may be. Just enjoy yourself and just have a plan while you're doing it.
And I think you make a good point there, Vince. Like, and I think you would say the same thing here, Mac. It means something coming from a coach, but it means a lot more if it's coming from Arch Manning, or it's coming from Vince Young, or it's coming from a player. Before you leave, guys, we have big time goals this year. We can win a national championship. Be with each other and be good, good teammates and good friends to each other.
Yeah,
Correct.
but we said you can have a good time. You don't have to get drunk. You don't have to use drugs. You don't have to use anything illegal to have a good time.
Yeah.
Have fun, enjoy it. But we also, and Vince remembers this, we also gave them a conditioning test that we're going to have the Monday that we got back from spring break. And we said, yes, you should work on this all week because you're going to do this Monday when you get back. And we would ask, there was probably more drinking then than there is now from all the reports, but we would ask a guy, dehydration with alcohol is really dangerous on a football field, really dangerous. So we would tell a guy, go tell your strength coaches if you drank too much one night, if you drank too much 2 nights ago, make sure the trainers and the strength coaches know because we're gonna have to treat you differently. I mean, we can't put you out there, and it may hurt your conditioning, it may hurt your playing. And everything goes back to Vince wanting to be a great player. If these guys wanna be great players, they're not gonna mess up at spring break. And you are right. The other part of this orientation is who are the leaders now?
Yeah.
Who's gonna help Arch? Arch gotta step up, and Vince was tough in the locker room. He's fun, he laughed, but he was tough. And he'd call one out, he wouldn't do it publicly, but he'd call him over and say, "Hey, you need to wake up. You're not doing right at night. I've heard. Clean it up, man. Clean it up, or you're not gonna get to play, and you're gonna get in trouble,
Yeah.
and you'll be gone." And usually everybody in the locker room knows. They know who they are. They know who's out, they know who's not, they know who's acting right, they know who's griping and bitching about not playing or this or that, and usually the ones that are griping all get in a little room together.
Yeah.
So that makes them feel comfortable if they can be mad at the coaches or be mad at the other players or "Ben shouldn't be playing, man. I should be playing instead of him." "Oh, yeah, well," and somebody said, "Yeah, my friend said I should be playing." I said, "Well, yeah, so did your mom." I mean, that's a friend's not gonna tell you, "No, you're stupid, you shouldn't be playing." I mean, come on, man. So, but that's what this is all about. It is part of growing. It's part of maturing. Ben said it right. You can be at Panama City Beach and Galveston Beach, and you can be there and have a good time. But Vince and the guys always went to the party, but they knew when to leave
Yeah.
and they knew when to stop
And we was together.
and together. And we always said, bring a buddy system. Don't ever go somewhere by yourself.
Yeah.
Somebody put something in a drink, somebody accuse you of something, you have one of your teammates with you when you go.
Yep. Protect
Well,
yourself.
I think that leads us into what is going to happen with spring football for this Texas team. One of the things we talked about last week was the KJ Lacey, Dia Bell, MJ Morris getting all the experience. That's happening at a lot of positions. Trevor Goosby's out. That's going to give opportunities at offensive line. Ryan Wingo and Emmett Mosley are out. That gives opportunities at wide receiver. So there's some really good things that can come from some of these guys sitting out. Vince, I want to start with the offensive line. They've moved Brandon Baker in from tackle to guard. Sark said he wanted to do that last year, but when Andre Kojo went down, they didn't have the opportunity. But he thinks Brandon's future is kind of moving inside to guard. His body shape, body type, kind of puts him there. With all the questions that started last year with the offensive line, they solidified some things by the end of the year. How big a question mark do you think the offensive line is, and how much great experience can they get in this spring with a Trevor Goosby out to still be able to form some of the things they want to form?
Well, I mean, this is a time for you to figure out whatever you need to figure out at this time, and you need to also ask them and build that conversation with the guys. How do you feel about playing at this position? At this point in time, these young men to me are so much mature than most kids I have seen lately, and once you have that communication and talking to the young man and knowing how he feels, you can go about trying some things right now at camp. I don't really feel like the offensive line this year is gonna be an issue like it was last year. I think we have more guys actually played more, right? A little bit more. So, once you get games underneath your belt and confidence, now you on campus, you feel more comfortable where you're at. You know that you got a quarterback that is an outstanding guy. He's gonna make great decisions. You can go back and watch film and see some of the things that I can fix as an individual player. But as a team, as an offensive line, as a group of guys, I really feel like they're gonna do way better than what they did last year. So I have confidence in that because of the fact what I just said. I just feel like the coaching staff saw what they could have done better with those guys. And I really feel like they're going to fix it. I think that is something that they're working on right now in spring. So by the time it does get to training camp and to the season, I really feel like those guys are going to build a chemistry, kind of understanding the development part of understanding the offense, what Coach Stark wants, what he wants in the passing game, what he wants in the running game. And I really feel like kind of like towards the end of the season, I thought those guys did way better of protecting uh, Arch, and also him being more comfortable getting the ball out quicker, and Coach Stark calling better plays, not better plays, but plays to get the ball out quicker from the bubble routes to the screens to the tight end. I think they all helped each other once they got on the same page them last six games. And I really feel like that's what coach is probably talking to him about. We know y'all guys are strength. We see what you guys can do. Let's focus on that. So I don't really feel like the offensive line going to be a problem or issue this year.
So let me follow that up for both of you guys because I think this is an interest.
I'm
Sorry,
thinking
Vince. Go ahead.
I think it's going to go sweet. What Coach said, what Coach Brown just said. I think it's going to have to start focus on the defense. As when you lose a couple players like we lost, it is tough to bring in somebody that can match what Taft did. Taft was a leader. He was a guy that got guys in different positions when they was out of positions. You got a couple of guys that's going. You got like Malik. I mean, I like Malik so good because he was consistent. You know that if you throw his way, he gonna either pick it off or he gonna block it or he's right there. Now you gotta find somebody that got kinda come in and do the same thing and be consistent like him. So, like coach said, you got a new defensive scheme. You got a lot of different things that you gotta, work on in a defensive standpoint that can match our offense. So I think for me is the defense is gonna be a really big focus for Texas this year because the offense, they really have a lot of great weapons and they can do a lot on the offense side of the ball. But I think our defense is gonna be something that we need to work on because last year they looked really good. And now you got a lot of guys that's gone and you got new schemes. Now you got to start focusing on that.
And the scheme
Well,
will be very different. So that's going to be
yeah.
interesting too to see. And Bob, I always thought the lines of scrimmage are where you end up going to the playoffs. That's where it gets different. Everybody got fast receivers. Everybody got some good running backs. You got to have a quarterback because he touches it every time. But those two lines of scrimmage have to be really good. And I think we saw when that's why the Tulanes and the James Madisons can't play with the others. We saw Oregon really outmatch Texas Tech up front. We saw when it got down to Miami and Indiana, both were really strong on both lines of scrimmage. And we thought in the NFL, you only have 7 offensive linemen.
Yeah.
So they're trying to find 7. You got to find 5. Then you got to find a guard and a tackle and maybe a guard center and a tackle that can play to try to get you 7 that you can rotate. And if you can get 7 rotators, and Texas has got a center back, a left tackle back that'll be a NFL guy, and then a guard that's played some. So now they're trying to find 2 more guys, and then find 2 more guys. So you're trying to find your 5, and you've got to have that left tackle that's special. Center's got to be special. He's coming back. That really helps you. But then you've got to have 2 guys that can rotate. Then you figure out how do you keep them healthy by keeping them fresh and rotating. If you can find 10, great. Everybody wants 2 deep everywhere. It is really hard to find 10 offensive linemen that can all play, and that's really sad. But that's the case.
Well, let me ask you guys. I want to go back to 02, 03 and kind of what that was like for both of you guys because we're seeing kind of the benefits of KJ and Dia getting all these snaps in the spring. Mac and Vince, when you guys were going through that process of developing Vince, what was that like in spring football, trying to get him good reps, but knowing you've got the guys that you have?
Well, for me, it's kind of like it happened to me. I mean, I think that was my red shirt freshman year. I went into
Yeah.
it. Chance and Narco was hurt. I think Chance had an ankle injury or something, and Narco had an arm injury. So I actually did go into spring by myself with 2 walk-on quarterbacks to to help me out, and I got a ton of reps.
You
When
wore
I
him
mean,
out.
yes, I was. Whew, boy, I'll tell you, I was so tired after some spring practices. But in the same time, I took on the challenge. I took the challenge on. I wanted to get better in my three-step game. I wanted to get better in knowing, getting comfortable with the offensive schemes with Coach Davis. I think it was a great time for me, and I took dead aim at it. I developed and got better as a quarterback. I really every day that I did step on that football field, not just on the field, but in the film room, just understanding defense and coverages. I really took a lot of time after that, class time, if you can get your classes out the way, but I really was really focused on being a better quarterback overall for my teammates. I didn't want to go into that next year as just a athletic quarterback. I really got really better as throwing the ball deep, short, everything. And with those more of those reps that I had got because of Norco and Chance wasn't at practice. I mean, was dealing with their injuries. I really took dead aim at it to get better as a quarterback, and it really helped me out. So, you know, for Lacey and Bell, I think it's a great opportunity for him. Anytime, especially Lacey, I know he's been back there hungry. I see it when I'm on the sideline. He's looking at me. I'm looking at him like, just stay ready. But now he got an opportunity, and he's been a great friend. He's been a great teammate to Arch and the guys in the locker room. He hasn't been a distraction. So to me, he'd earned it. He's deserving that we can see what he can do. We don't want Arch to get hurt. We don't want these type of things to happen, but it happens. And on the Arch side of it, he can sit back and see things now. And sometimes you'll be moving. He was moving so fast when he got in there. Sometimes you do need to step back for a second and see. I got a hernia in playing with my jump, and I had to step back and just start watching the game again, and it helped me too mentally. So all those guys in that locker room at that quarterback position, this is a great time for all. Even though Arch is not playing, but he get to see things mentally, and then, like you said, for the other two guys, now they get to get reps. Now they get to get time in there. Now they know how to practice with these guys on the next level. So I think all of this is a great development for all three of the guys in that position room.
And Bob, I agree completely. And if you're Sark, you're sitting there trying to figure out how do you even deal with the three. You got Lacey, you got Bell, you got Morris. Morris is an older guy.
Yeah.
And Bell, you think's a superstar. You're trying to keep him. Lacey may be the most ready to play because he's already been in the system for a year. So one of the arts of coaching is multitasking. How do I keep all of them active, keep all of them healthy, keep all of them here now with the
Yeah.
transfer portal? Because that's a huge part of it. Then the second thing is I've got to build my offense around Arch and the players that he's got. Vince just said it. They were much better the last 6 games because they got their niche. They found out what the offensive line could do, what the receivers could do. Here's what we're best at doing. It's not the Sark offense. It's not the Greg Davis or Mack Brown offense. It's what can Vince do best and the players around it. It's what Arch can do best and the players around him. It's not just Arch. And then you've got to figure out what Arch can do best, but what does Lacey do best? If Lacey goes in, maybe you tweak the offense a little bit, and these are Lacey's best plays. These are Bell's best plays. Here's what let's say we have to play Bell. Other two guys, something happens. What do we do with the freshman when we take him in there? So what we did is we developed an offense that was best for Vince and the players that he had around him. That offense might have been different from the previous guys. Major Applewhite ran a 5.2. So he wasn't going to run the plays that Vince ran. Chris Sims was faster than that, but they were not Vince in running. Chance Mock was not Vince. So we had two opposites. We had a drop back passer in Chance and a guy who could do both and be very versatile in Vince. And that was tough because how do you get an offense for two different type personalities and you're practicing? And who practices with the ones and who practices with the twos? And do the twos practice the offense for Vince or the one for Chance? So you're really trying this spring to formulate what is best for Arch and one of these guys behind him if he had to come in and play.
Yeah.
And you're just making it all work. And that way I said at LSU, we had a left tackle that couldn't block when we first got there. And we ran the draw play left side every time for the first 6 games because we thought at least if they knew there was a draw coming, they'd rush faster less, and because he couldn't block him. So we were going to have to get a free release with a back. We're going to have to chip with a tight end or back, because he couldn't do it. And it wasn't like we had free agency. We couldn't go get another one. But we had him. So we said, okay, draw left, draw left, draw left. And that was the way to help him protect better.
Well, there are so many position battles and so many, guys are going to get great experience this spring. The freshmen certainly are as well, which I think is a lot of fun. And I wanted to pass along this compliment because it's an interesting, it was just an interesting comment that was made on Twitter. Cowboys legendary wide receiver Dez Bryant loves social media, loves to, and I don't know the best way to say it. Give his opinions is probably the best way to say it. But Jermaine Bishop is a freshman at Texas, and Dez had this to say about Jermaine. I think he'll be the Longhorns' #1 wide receiver this year. I think we would all disagree with that, but that's okay. But he said he's oozing with confidence. He's a legit playmaker. And he said Texas hasn't had a playmaker like this since Vince Young. And I think that's a nice compliment. He believes in Jermaine Bishop, which is great. Hopefully, he kind of compared him to Malachi Tony and what Miami was able to do with him. Obviously, with Cam Coleman and Ryan Wingo and Emmett Mosley and Khalil Lockett and Dalen McCutcheon, there's a lot to get through to become the #1 wide receiver. But that's
Right.
at least a nice compliment to you, Vince, from Dez Bryant.
Oh yeah, it's always good to hear my guy Dez. I think it's probably why I wore my hat today. I said to match up with Dez.
That's right.
Right, but yeah, I appreciate that from Dez. Dez, he played that level, that position at the highest level. He have seen it, and he's seen this kid grow up as a kid. So, for me, to me, you got to earn it for one. But he has been looking pretty good the last few days at practice. It's still early. It's definitely still early, but it's good to know that you have a young guy that's coming in and he's setting the tone, letting his teammates know how hard he's working and what he's finna do to let you guys know that I'm on your butt to play. And it's really good to know that. I remember Jamal Charles. He came in and said he was gonna run more yards than Adrian Peterson. And I was like, hey man, wait a minute now. I think Adrian Peterson is a Heisman Trophy winner, just ran for 2,000 yards. But in the same time, you want a young kid to come in and be confident about themselves.
Yeah.
Because the fact if you don't, then you will have all these mistakes. You'll be doubting yourself. And then now you get to a point that this is not working out for me. Now I need to, go into the portal. But when you have a kid like Bishop that I saw his highlights from high school, unbelievable, and he's coming already making some noise on the college level, that's just very impressive. That shows you how hard he's working behind the scenes, how much he's learning the offense, he's studying, he's doing the things that he's supposed to be doing in order for him to come to compete, to be on that field, to give Coleman and the rest of those guys to let them know like you have the job for now. And I know Coach Brown. That's why Coach Brown smiling. He likes competition.
No question. And what Dez really said is he got a chance to be real good.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what he said. They're not even in pads. They've only
Right.
been pads a day or two, but he's got a chance to be really good, and that's it. But the best motivator you have as a coach is that bench.
Yeah.
If there's one that can come in and take your place, and Vince knows we always took those freshman highlights and we put them right in front of the team, and they would pick at those guys. They'd say those wide receivers, "Ooh, man, you're not gonna get to play.
Right.
You're on the bench, man. Guy's coming in. He gonna take your place. Look at the running back. Jamal Charles gonna be the starter, Selvin. He's faster than
Yeah.
you, Selvin."
The
Those
competition raised up a little higher, but
no, they just stir it up for practice.
exactly.
I love that. And as you best described Jamal Charles his freshman year, Vince, a gnat at a barbecue. He was just all over you all the time. And that will always be one of my favorite descriptions. All right. When we come back, we're going to get into NFL draft stuff with Malik Muhammad. And as we'll talk a little bit about the Big Ten too. What is tampering? Question we keep trying to answer. The Big Ten is now trying to answer that question as well. We'll get into all that when we come back. This is the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. We're back after this. Texas has some of the highest property taxes in the country. And if you're a property owner like we are, you know it hits harder than a blindside sack. That's why every winning season starts with the right playbook. When it comes to lowering your property taxes, Texas Pro Tax has been calling winning plays for 38 seasons. They're the #1 defense against soaring tax bills. the kind of defense that stuffs rising values at the line and sends them back to the locker room.
Do your homework before you just let any firm suit up for you. I've looked at the stats, and Texas Pro Tax doesn't just win, they dominate.
We're talking big gains, deep passes, and the kind of tax-saving drives that make your wallet do a victory dance. While the other firms are warming the bench, Texas Pro Tax is driving the field, breaking tackles, and putting up game-changing Texas-sized tax savings.
Stampede listeners, your minimum fee is waived. No flags, no fumbles.
Visit TexasProTax.com, sign up and enter code STAMPEDE to join the winning team, and finally put your property taxes on the bench. All right, welcome back to the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. It is now time for Texas Pro Tax Pros. When it comes to lowering your property taxes, Texas Pro Tax has been calling winning plays for 38 seasons. And as a Stampede listener, when you sign up for Texas Pro Tax, your minimum fee will be waived. Just visit TexasProTax.com, sign up, and enter the promo code STAMPEDE to join the winning team and put property taxes on your bench. All right, BY, let's get into the NFL draft and Malik Muhammad. A name that I feel like really did himself some favors at the combine. Ran a 4.42, really impressed scouts on that front. Had a 10-10 broad jump that was tied for sixth amongst the cornerbacks. Obviously, he has a little bit of a thin frame, but he makes up for it in a lot of different ways. What impresses you about Malik Muhammad?
Well, one thing I like about Malik, he's consistent for one. He's a kid that is very aggressive. He wants to hold your top receiver, and he will pick it off. And he's smart. He's a kid that has an IQ, and you can use him at the nickelback. You can use him at corner. You can move him around on different things in your system, whatever team you're playing. You always got a package. He can always come in and be one of those kids that's is going to do what he has to do to learn the offense to play. And that's what I like about him. As soon as he stepped on campus, he was a kid that was there. He was in the game. He was playing and he was consistent. So, and he's an injury free guy. I mean, I don't remember him having a bunch of injuries at the University of Texas other than, a couple of games this past year, but he was right back in there. So, and when you can depend on a guy like that, you want him to play. So I feel like that he did a good job for himself at the combine. He has another one coming up in a couple weeks, and he's finna go out and meet with a bunch of teams. So this would they got him here for right now, but I feel like as they get an opportunity to see him more and learn more about him as his character, as a personality, I feel like he'll start to rise up them stocks a little bit higher.
Yeah, and Vince, it's interesting you say that for all 3 years at Texas, his numbers were very consistent. I mean, he put out a consistent effort. His numbers were consistent. I thought, he missed the Florida game this year, like you mentioned. Um, I if there's one game this year that I bet he wishes he could have played because Dallas Wilson played and just went off, and they really missed Malik. And I think if that game had been later in the year, maybe Cade Phillips and Kobe Black would have been a little better prepared for it. But because it was one of the first games in conference play, they missed Malik Muhammad. Obviously, they took advantage of that. I think that shows a little bit about what a difference maker he is as well. He's got to be a guy I think he's going to be a day two guy, but I think he continues to climb up the boards a little bit with some of the guys as they realize what a difference maker he is.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, just to let you know, I mean, he was a kid that had had great character, and he was somebody that the guys looked up to, and that says a lot about him, what type of player that he is. That he was consistent and he was a leader. And me, if I was playing against him, and I know that that was my teammate, I'll have to always give him respect because you always want to give respect to guys that always you could depend on. And he was a guy that was definitely depended on every game other than that one game. He was always playing and consistent. So I'm happy for him and everything will be all right for him.
That's how important is it for a guy like Malik? I mean, obviously, you want to be picked as high as you can be picked. Obviously, you want to find the right spot. But how important is it to be a day two guy when it comes to contract and one, obviously he's probably not going to go into the first round, so you don't have to worry about that front. But to push into that day two, how important would that be for him?
Well, it's important because I know how hard he's worked for it.
Yeah.
Just coming from the Dallas area to where he is today. I mean, it to me, I don't even look at it like that no more. How it used to be when I came out, that you want to go top one, top two. Now it's like you can go anywhere now, third, fourth, and come in and have an opportunity. When they give you the opportunity, you can change that. And yes, you want the big check and whatever it may be, but you can since the NIL stuff now you figured out how to make money. It's not even that right now. And the main thing is getting on the field. Thank God, getting on a team for one, and then getting on the field. So now it really doesn't matter to me the what round you go in, just when you got an opportunity and your name gets called to go play for somebody, that's when you have to show 'em. Even when I got drafted the first round, I still had to show my team and coaches that I can play on this level, and I want to play on this level. So to me, it's good that he can still be in the round two, but in the same time, to me, it doesn't really matter. As long as your name get called, you get on the team, now you got to show who you are.
Yeah, it's all about fit when it comes to the NFL for sure. CBS Sports has him mocked the third round of the Packers at number 84 overall. We'll see where Malik Muhammad ends up going. Hey, win big savings on your property taxes with Texas Pro Tax. Sign up and use code STAMPEDE at texasprotax.com. And as Coach Brown rejoins us, we get to talk a little bit about tampering. We had Craig Bowl on, we had Demora Smith and Sean Abood on. We've had a lot of really good conversations, and we keep asking the question, what is tampering? Well, the Big Ten, who by the way has won the last 3 national championships, Michigan, Ohio State, Indiana, has asked the NCAA to stop investigating tampering. And here are just a couple things, the letter that they've asked the NCAA to consider. The current framework for tampering rules cannot be credibly or equitably enforced. The letter states, we're committed to engaging in a process to develop a modern framework for contact rules that addresses the varied challenges and opportunities of the current collegiate landscape. So, we're not going to answer the question, what is tampering? Because there's so much tampering that goes on. But I do want to know from you guys where you think this should go. I know we've had a lot of good conversations on this. Is the Big Ten justified in doing this? And where do we go with this?
I think they're justified, but you got coaches getting fired right now, and you got kids being tampered with right now, so we can't just say, let's don't do anything right now. I think you've got the rules need to be adjusted to the NIL area. When you're in this era and you're sitting here with tampering and NIL and transfer portal, it's different than it's ever been before. So I thought Greg Sankey made a good point. We need to clarify the rules. We don't even know what they are for sure.
Right.
We need to make rules that we can enforce, because rules aren't any good if you can't enforce them. And there needs to be really, really tough consequences. If people get a great player and they're not going to be punished for it at a high level, then they're going to keep getting great players. Because if you win, people don't care what you do. That's kind of the environment we're in right now. But I had coaches calling players on our team, and I'm talking to coaches every day who said, Coach, he called a player on my team. It's not in the portal. Offered him money, and I said, why don't you turn him in? I said, it's hard to prove. They won't do anything. We just got to let it go. And Dabo documented it, went after Ole Miss, and had clarification. So now what's going to happen? We're still sitting here 6 months from game time and nothing's happened. So unless the NCAA can, if they prove all the things that Dabo had, he had them black and white right there in front of everybody. He'd caught them. Guy was in class working out with Clemson, and now he's headed to Ole Miss after he's already been in meetings on the team. So if nothing is done in this situation, then nothing's going to be done. But I don't think the best thing to do is say, we just need to slow down and do nothing right now.
Well,
I think you got to do something. And it's like the entire framework right now, and without guidelines of college football, we've got to speed it up. We got to get some things done, but we've got to change things like tampering for sure. Too many coaches have told me it is just completely out of control. I saw it. I felt it. And then I didn't do a good job of documenting it, because if you get the phone calls, you get the text messages, that's tampering. That's
Okay.
it. It's very clear what it is. What we're going to do about it is something that has to be really looked at, and I think looked at immediately. And it has to stop because I talked to a basketball coach the other day and he said, Coach, there's a prominent coach. And he gave me his name. I won't mention any names. He said, he's talking to my best player right now himself.
Yeah.
And he's offering him money and he's offering him more money than I can get. We're not through with the season. So we got to stop that stuff. We can't allow that to happen.
Vince, you've been really very well outspoken about some of this stuff. How are families, how are kids supposed to deal with this right now?
Well, I mean, it's all about the consequences. I keep saying it, like, when you see a certain kid does things, and it's the parent fault, right? Hey, the parents should have been more disciplined with their kid, right? So same thing with these guys upstairs. They need to give these people consequences, and it's just is what it is. I teach my son that every day. Like, hey, you did this, you made that grade, you did that. Here's the consequences of it. I mean, this is what you did. This is your actions. This is what's on. This is the receipts right here, the black and white. We got to fix it, like Coach just said. So don't wait. Let's fix it because um, college football, college basketball, college sports period is amazing. It's fun. Um, everybody loves it. You don't want to get to the point like now you're just gonna just let people do anything now. So it's time for them to just really dive into it, like Coach said, and consequences is definitely has to be one of them, or to set the schedule, like our guys just said, set a schedule, so we don't have to do. I mean, I really hate this stuff for coaches because now you're building a relationship with these kids, you're doing this for this kid, and you want to see the best for this kid, and then here comes somebody, a friend or somebody, a coach or somebody sending text messages and blah blah blah, and now they just in that kid's head, and now that kid's wanna he's confused now, and now that kid is about to make a big decision that he does not know that he has the proper information, which, we just saw on TV. Kids are getting sued by universities. It's ridiculous. So, it's now that it's like Coach just said, they have to do something now and has to fix it so we can get back to letting these young men, young ladies just have a good time playing the game that they love and working their butt off to get to the next level and the people that's doing the cheating, the people that's doing the things that's out of character, that's not representing, the game, the sport, they have to be consequences. It has to be. It's time for them to do that.
And
And
that's go ahead,
yeah,
Mac.
when Sean and DeMarcus were on and Vince was talking about it, I think also this is another area where we've got to upgrade the agent
Yeah.
because a quality agent will handle this within the rules when the rules are there. An agent that's not qualified, that really doesn't know what he's doing, will still try to go behind the scenes. So we've got to upgrade our level of agents and make sure that they're vetted and that they're credible as well.
Yeah.
And as always, we've talked about this a lot. The toughest thing is for the people who are doing it the right way, and then the guys who are doing it, the coaches that are doing it the wrong way, or the players that are doing it the wrong way. And it's a major issue that it's not that we're not talking about. I think people are talking about it. I think it's just to your point, the consequences need to come. We need to have the action behind everything that's going into it right now. All right. Well, yeah. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
One other statement I think is really important. I talked to a really good friend of mine that's a top football coach the other day, and he said, Coach, right now, it is really hard to compete if you're not tampering. He said it's really hard to compete if you're going by what we think are the rules. And that's sad. That's not we do have a great game. Vince just said it. But we need to make sure that a coach with integrity has the same chance to win with one that does not. And that's just not fair.
And it's
Right.
tough to figure out what that line is right now. I think for everybody, I think the difference in tampering and not tampering. But how do you're trying to keep your job, you're trying to do things the right way. And to that point, Mac, I think it's a very valid point. All right, we'll continue that conversation. Obviously. Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
If somebody's calling Sally and I don't know it, and they're trying to make a deal with her, get her to leave, that's tampering. I mean, it's not that complicated. It is if you are not doing what you're supposed to do, you're talking to people you shouldn't be talking to when you shouldn't be talking to them in a manner you shouldn't be talking to them. That's wrong. So let's punish them, and let's punish them at a high level so they quit.
Yeah. Nobody want to
Needs
get
to change. It
Don't-
needs to change, and there need to be consequences. There's no question about that. All right, when we come back, here's our question. How many games does Texas win in 2026? We'll get into that and where the line stands. That's coming up on this edition of the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. We're back after this. All right, time for our final segment of the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns alongside Mack Brown and Vince Young. I'm Bob Ballou. You can rate and review us anytime at the Stampede UT, anywhere you get us on social media, and you can find this podcast anywhere you get your podcast. Let's talk about the Texas win total for 2026. One sportsbook has Texas over under at 9.5 wins. It's the top in the SEC alongside Georgia. The majority of SEC teams, their numbers right at 6.5, so they think almost all of them are going to go to bowl games next year, or at least get close to it. Let's start with Texas in that 9.5 number. Vince, you'd probably go higher, right?
Yeah, I go 11.
Okay.
I give them 11. 10 or 11 games. I'd definitely give them that. It's going to be some tough ones they have to show, like I just said off air. That Knoxville game going to be a tough one, but I really feel like that momentum to how they finish the season is good for them, for something they can be proud of. And then going and play Michigan and that bowl game, like those type of things that you can be happy about, to see that you can go off that momentum right into the season and keep that momentum going to still winning some more games.
Coach, I think it's interesting. It's at 9.5 when you think about Ohio State at home, at Tennessee, at LSU, at Texas A&M. You play Oklahoma. That's a lot. That's having a lot of confidence in this Texas program going into 2026, isn't it?
Well, it is, Bob, and I think when we were at Texas, 10 was never enough. I mean, things have changed, and especially with the ninth game now in the SEC that they're playing. But I think people always expect too much out of Texas. It's up there. This is the year. People say, well, there's more pressure on Texas. They're really trying to win it all this year. Have for 100 years.
Right.
That hadn't changed. But I do think all of us are going to have to adjust our thinking to where I do think there'll be a 3-loss team in the playoffs at some point, maybe 4, because you're just going to have so many good teams playing against each other. I see conference championships going away. I see open dates going away, bye weeks. I see more players getting hurt, being tired because you've cut the roster, and I see more teams losing. And that's just the way it is. The weirdest thing about picking this time of the year is we don't know who's going to stay healthy. Texas has had 1 week's practice with 40 new players. We have no idea how this is going to pan out. We like to say we do. Are they talented? Are they well coached? Is it exciting? Is there opportunities? Yeah. But you got to make it work. You got to make it work. You got to protect the ball. You got to have fewer penalties. You got to run the ball better. You got to stop the run. You got to do a lot of things that Indiana did this year that not everybody else was able to do to get to that 10 wins and 10 win plus. And that's for Indiana not to have a turnover for 15 straight games. That hadn't happened since 2004. I mean, that's really hard to do. And Texas got 2 new running backs. So I think, again, where Georgia has done it every year. Sark's done it here in a few years in a row, so he's in the neighborhood now. Alabama, it's the ones that got money. A&M, LSU, they all got money. Oklahoma's got their quarterback coming back. Can they run the ball better? If they can't run the ball better, they're probably not going to be that much better. Won't be as good as they were. And then you lose that great quarterback at Vanderbilt, and all of a sudden they go from down to 6.5 because he was a difference maker. I mean, he did everything. What's going to happen with Ole Miss? How many players did they lose? How many did they keep? They kept the great running back, Lacey. So what, can Ole Miss hang in there and be good, or are they going to start drifting now? What's going to happen with Florida? John Summerall is really good. You got the quarterback from Georgia Tech that was really good to come down, the backup quarterback. We recruited him. He's really a good player. So is Florida going to be 6.5? If they are, they're not going to be very happy. I've watched Florida for years. Florida's not a 6.5 team. South Carolina, their expectations are higher than 6.5. So it's just it's a very competitive, tough business. And then you start looking at who out of that group gets in a 12-team playoff, and especially when there's spots taken by other leagues. So that'll be interesting to see. What's Lane gonna do? Got a lot of money. He's kind of been the portal king. So is he going to win 8.5 games at LSU? And Vince, I don't know what 8.5 game means. Does that mean you're going to win 8 or does that mean 9?
They better win all their home games.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
better go over.
You can't quit at halftime. Um, so I think but I do think that Texas and Georgia are considered the two best teams in the league. I do think that. Alabama's got some question marks. A&M's been very competitive, but they haven't finished as well. So can Marcel Reed take the next step? Can he take an arch step here next year with Vince's tutoring? So I think that's what I'd say. To me, you look at LSU, A&M, Alabama, Georgia, Texas, all of them good. All of them got money, and all of them have a chance to compete at the highest level. And then Oklahoma, if they can get their running game on track.
Yeah, Vince, you got your guys close to you now. You got Marcel in College Station and DJ's in Waco. DJ Lagway from Florida to Waco to go to Baylor. So that's good. Hey, Mac, you mentioned it. You said 10 wins wasn't enough at Texas, and times have changed. You're right, because 15's not enough now at Texas, because you got to get 16 if you're going to win a national championship, right?
That's true. And for people to say they're loading up to win the national championship, you do every year.
Yeah.
You do every year. Now, maybe because there is money, you put more money in certain positions and people think that you're trying more. But that hasn't changed. You want to try to win the national championship every year.
We mentioned this list. I said before last year there was a national person who said, the league now runs through Texas. And my response to that was the league runs through Athens, Georgia until it doesn't. I mean, you think about Georgia winning 3 of the last 4 SEC championships. They've been in 8 of the last 9 SEC championship games. This is still Georgia's league. They obviously won it again last year. When you think about Texas and Georgia, they're at the top of this league. Who's that team that takes the next step, Vince? Is it LSU with Lane? Is it Ole Miss continuing off what they did last year? Does Alabama respond? Is it A&M taking the next step? Who do you think are maybe a couple of the teams that take that next echelon step to get back into the top of the SEC?
Well, I mean, like you said, Texas and Georgia is running it right now. So to me, A&M, they're tired of us hearing Texas, 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 not Texas A&M. But I can always say what Coach just said. I think Florida is with that team is going to start making a significant change because they have to. Like you said, they can't be 6-5. The year they just had was not Florida at all. So I think, like Coach just said, they have a good coaching staff. They got tremendous players around. All they got to do is just start to get it back to the chemistry wise, refocus it in. What is the Florida football about? And I really feel like they can take for those. So for me, it's A&M in Florida. I see taking off. And once that happens, it's going to be a show. Lane, I think he got a couple more years, another year and a half, and he'll be there. But LSU is always good to me. They always got a football team. But I'm looking from right now, from the quarterback standpoint, from both sides, like the coach has said, Florida and A&M is going to be a tough team to play this year, definitely, because of the fact what happened to them last year. Yeah, and Winston
Coach?
in the playoffs against Miami, that's tough to eat.
Yeah.
And I know they kind of mad, pissed off about that right now.
Yeah, and mine would be Florida and LSU. Blake Baker stayed at LSU as a defensive coordinator, and he worked for us here at Texas. He was a great young coach, and actually turned down the Tulane job to stay. His school where he played linebacker. But you've got great defense. Louisiana's got some of the best players in the country. They're like Texas, and he can do it with high school players like Georgia is doing it when he gets established. But I think and he got a great quarterback. So I think and Charlie Weiss Jr. is one of the best offensive coordinators in the country. So I really think that the LSU's one of the best jobs in the country, and that'll be a quick turnaround. And I'm a John Summerall fan, and Florida is a great job. So I agree with Vince that Florida is going to be back, and they'll be back fast.
I think the team that I'm just interested to see where it goes is Auburn, because they've been down for so many years now. The coaching changes haven't worked. They've tried different things. I'll be interested to see if Auburn can take any kind of step this year and what that kind of looks like for them going forward. But we'll see. All right, guys. Always appreciate the time. It's always fun doing this. Thanks for taking the time from where you are. I know we're all in different spots. We're all working around things that are going on. But as always, thank you guys. We look forward to doing it again next week.
I see you guys trying to rush up off here.
Well, Vince has been on the golf circuit, the rodeo circuit now, so he's sitting there. He can be calm.
I'm
Like-
just relaxed. That's so funny.
Vince, you can anchor the 6 o'clock and 10 o'clock tonight since you're in the
Oh,
studio.
yeah, I
You
got
can go ahead and do that for us.
Oh, that's
Thank you, Bob. And we do. We all get so many people come up and talk about the podcast, and even here in the Bahamas, I've had so many people that come up and say we listen, and we appreciate that so much. So thank you, and send us notes on things you want to hear.
Yeah.
Let us know, because we're here for you, and that's the most important thing.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. You can do that at the Stampede UT, anywhere you find us on social media. We always appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you again next week. For Vince Young and Mack Brown, I'm Bob Ballou. This is the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. See you next week.
Howdy.